And now, live from Laurel, Maryland, USA, home of the Patuxent Wildlife Research Center, where they study the effects of alcohol versus formalin storage of amphibious larvae and decide alcohol is better. It's snack time.
All of us here in the Snackboy studios in Laurel, Maryland, we're all eaters. From the gaffers to the soundmen to the producers to Snackboy, especially himself, we eat. When we go to lunch together, we're all pigs, and I just want to say that you do not know how happy you've made us all, because recently we've been getting in snacks from people, and we want to say thank you very much for the snacks, and my gut thanks you for the snacks, and the guts of everyone around here thanks you all for the snacks. And for all the people who've never maybe taken the time to, sit down, look into their heart, and send a snack to Snackboy, I'd like to thank you in advance. So let's get to today's snack. Today, I started thinking this morning. I woke up and I looked over the bookcase, and the first thing I saw was Alex Haley and the novel Roots. And I started thinking about all the old TV shows where, you'd watch your favorite character grow up from a little bitty tyke to being, like a obnoxious criminal teenager. And I started thinking about all the test tube babies and even the artificially inseminated lesbian couples, and that's a beautiful thing. And I started wondering, hey, what about the egg and the sperm that met to create me? Let's face it, people. We've all popped out of someone's vagina. And today, I'm going to talk about the vagina that I popped out of. See, Mom and Dad met in 1968. 1968 is a very special year for me because it's home of Night of the Living Dead, one of my favorite black and white zombie pictures. 1968 also marks the time, like I just said, that Mom met Dad. Paint a little picture for you. Mom was working in one of those, at the time, very modern glass. She was only 19 years old or 18 showrooms, and it was a car dealership. And she was one of the ladies that would stand by the cars and kind of pose them, and the cars would turn around, and she would kind of model the cars, and, kind of like Peggy Bundy and Married with Children. Christine Applegate, like, the new Elantra. Well, my mom would just kind of be like, oh, pretty car, pretty car. And my dad at the time, well, Ron's a cool guy. Ron Crummett, he was kind of like he wasn't young. He was 33, a little bit older than my mom, and he was kind of like an Elvis Presley type. He had like the really big black bouffant and the cool black sideburns and the white T-shirt, and he would always have a cigarette in his hand, kind of skinny, kind of Johnny Deppish, and well, he liked what my mom had to offer, and so he started kind of looking at the cars that she was modeling. Well, she liked my dad too, and the way the legend goes, Mom walked up to Dad and she said, excuse me, sir, do you have 10 cents? And my dad said, what do you need 10 cents for? And she said, candy bar. So my dad gave her 10 cents, and thus began the phone number exchange. And after the phone number exchange, Dad called Mom, and she said, well, you can take me out, but I'm a good girl. You have to come around on Friday. That's 5 days from now, and you have to meet my mother. That's right, Grandma! Remember Grandma, people? Well, she wasn't always living in the back of Mom and Dad's house. My grandmother used to be a young, vivacious woman. And the night my dad picked up my mom for their first date, he said Grandma was much the way she is today. Although her hair was dyed red, she was sprawled out on the couch, and she had just had back surgery, and she was high as a kite on mid-1960s medication. He said that she was pretty much like a little bit of a younger version of what she is today. And the conversation he had with her was just as random and surreal as could be. He was all cool and Elvis, and he rung the doorbell, and he walked in. And, of course, my mom was too cool to answer the door. And there was Grandma lying on the bed, and she's like, come in, open the door. And my dad was like, well, hello, through the door. And he could hear my grandmother going, open it, come in. So he opened the front door, and there was Grandma lying, high as a kite in her satin pajamas. And she's like, oh, you must be Susan's friend. And she couldn't even make eye contact. She's like, you must be Susan's friend. And my dad was like, yes, I'm Ron, and it's nice to meet you. And he tried to shake her hand, and she was like, ah! And she missed. And out walks my mom, and he said that she was a vision. My dad confided in me that back then in 1968, my mom had this tiny little waistline and these huge boobs. And I guess that was part of the appeal. I saw a picture of my mom. I thought she looked like Alicia Silverstone. She doesn't anymore. No offense, Mom. You're aging with grace and beauty, but you're no longer clueless. Well, anyway, then it was time to meet the aunts. Well, we all know about Nigger White, Opie's mother, Aunt Lauren, and we all know about Nigger White James's mother, Aunt Jane. Well, they, of course, were living with my mother. They're all the sisters, three, kind of like the witches of Macbeth, and they lived with Grandma. And the way my dad fondly remembers meeting Aunt Jane and Aunt Lauren was that Aunt Jane was in Aunt Lauren's elbow. That's right, it was in a headlock. And they were fighting over, as Aunt Lauren was screaming, dresses. Dad said they came around the corner like they were entering the stage, like stage left for a theater, and from the headlock position, Aunt Jane was like, "I didn't take your dress!" And Aunt Lauren was like, "You took my dress!" And Aunt Jane was like, "I borrowed your dress!" And Aunt Lauren was like, "You're gonna pay!" And Aunt Jane's like, "It was my dress!" And Aunt Lauren's like, "I sewed that dress!" And, of course, my dad started to think, what the hell have I gotten myself into? But then my mom and her boobs and her little waist walked around the corner, and I think he forgot all about the high, crazy old lady on the couch and all about the two little, kind of Marge Simpson sisters, and all he could see was lust, love, and a future filled with bliss, Kinney's, seminary, and young Snackboy. So today is kind of like a Valentine because it's my parents' anniversary. Egg met semen, and I say to Mother and Father, mwah! Please, if you have stories about how your parents met and you think they're funny or interesting, we'd love to have them, and we would tell your story on Snackboy, and I'll do it as good as I can because I don't know your parents. And